Hello everyone, welcome back to the Zekko Football channel. Today we're talking underrated players. Yes, in this video we're going to be going through 5 players that we think deserve a little bit more recognition. If you're new to the channel, please make sure you subscribe, you like the video, and you turn on those notifications. It seriously helps me out and is very much appreciated. But without further ado, let's get into it. Up first, we've got Jacob Murphy. I think you could argue there isn't a more underrated player than Jacob Murphy. He always waits on the bench for his turn. When he comes on, he always tries to make an impact, and actually he's starting to produce some numbers now. 1 goal and 3 assists in the time that he's played, which is very, very little. He's actually averaged 28 minutes a game for Newcastle United this season. He completes around 8 progressive passes per 90, 10 progressive passes he's received, and he completes 5 progressive passes per match as well. Now that's solid impact. And considering the limited amount of time that he's got and the fact that he's just getting some appearances here and there, his impact on this Newcastle side doesn't ever fade. People don't tend to talk about him a lot because I think they see him as fairly limited, and while he might not be the flashiest of players, I just think that generally he always does the job that is asked of him by Eddie Howe, and he's always reliable and he's always there, and there's a quality in that. So while he might not put in some of the most spectacular performances, he's always reliable, and there's something to be said for a player who is always willing to do his part for the side. And because he doesn't get a lot of game time, I don't think he gets recognised all too much. But he is now. Up next, Pascal Gross. Now I know that Brighton have really come to the fore recently and everyone wants to give them their plaudits, but I still do not think that Pascal Gross gets the recognition that he needs. He is essentially one of the major linchpins that makes this Brighton side tick. Without him in the side, the fluidity just would not be there in the centre of the park. And then you've got some of his stats. He's in the 99th percentile for expected assists and in the 96th percentile for non-penalty goals against players in his position in Europe's top 5 leagues, and considering the fact that he plays for Brighton, that's pretty impressive. He averages 3.96 shot creating actions per 90, so he's very creative, and he averages 7.34 progressive passes per 90. He gets the ball forwards and he is that player that links defense to attack. And then there's his party trick. He can play literally anywhere on the pitch. You want him to play at right back? He can play right back. You want him to play centre midfield? He can do that. You want him to be a little bit more further forwards as an attacking mid? He can do that as well. He plays literally everywhere and is still sublime. And like I said, still in my mind does not get the recognition that he deserves. And in number 3, Anthony Robinson. Now Fulham aren't having the campaign that they did last year, and that's definitely having an effect on some of the players that they have at their disposal, and Anthony Robinson is one of them, but he's still putting up some pretty good performances. He doesn't have any goals and assists to his name, but that doesn't mean that he can't be a good player still. He's a defender first and foremost, and that's exactly what he's been doing, and he's been doing a pretty good job of it. He wins 57% of all of his duels, 70% of his aerial duels, and considering the fact that he's a left back, that's actually really impressive. He averages 6.1 ball recoveries per 90, which is pretty high, and he averages 2.5 tackles per 90. He's a good defender, and I think he needs to be getting a little bit more credit. Now naturally his lack of attacking numbers has coincided with the fact that Fulham can't really go forwards and they don't really have a game plan without Mitrovic, but still as a defender he's really solid, and considering how much pressure Fulham have been under, I think he's done a pretty good job of stepping up and still being able to try and drive forwards when he can. He's not too bad. If Joachim Andersen was in a top 6 side, everybody would be talking about him. But he's at Crystal Palace. The profile for a good modern centre-back is to be strong in the air, to be robust in the challenge, and also have the ability to pass from out the back and have a range of passing on you to be able to go forwards when needed. He's got the lot. Seriously, he does. Defensively, he's very, very good. He wins 76% of his ground duels, 3.2 tackles on average, and he wins 70% of his aerial duels. He's dominant in the air, 2.9 aerial duels won per 90 as well. Oh, you want more? He's a goal threat. He's got 2 goals this season, and actually, he arguably should have scored more. To top it all off, he has a wand of a right foot that allows him to pass across massive yardage. Yes, I did just say yardage. He can hit a 60-yard pass with ease, just simply. And that doesn't come around all too often, especially with players who aren't coveted massively by big 6 sides. So he seemingly has got everything you would want from a modern centre-back, and yet not too many people are talking about him. I think he's a pretty sensational defender and would improve most sides that are playing above Crystal Palace right now. In fact, I can see a bigger club coming in from him in the not too distant future. Sorry, Crystal Palace. Last but certainly not least, we've got Bryan Mbeumo. Since Ivan Toney's suspension, Brentford have needed to change tact. They've needed to look for someone who can still offer them something going forwards. Enter Bryan Mbeumo. He has seriously picked up the mantle since Toney left, and he looks extremely dangerous. He's always on the front foot and always looking to run in behind. But when you can't do that and the space isn't there, it's okay. He's a fantastic dribbler. His passing is very good. He moves into pockets of space, and he can also open up the field for his teammates. He currently has 5 goals and 1 assist in his 9 games of play, which is pretty spectacular for a side like Brentford. He scores some absolutely fantastic goals, but he also has the capability to bring others into play. In fact, although he's only got 1 assist, his expected assists are actually at 2.7, which means he's creating chances for his teammates, they're just not being able to finish. And to top it all off, he's got a shot conversion rate of 22%, which is pretty spectacular. If it doesn't sound like a lot, let me put it into a bit of context. Erling Haaland, who is pretty much the best striker in the world currently, if not one of, he has a shot conversion rate of 26%. Not too far off, is he? So although Mbeumo is actually the star man right now, and he's really the player that's putting things forward from an attacking point of view for Brentford, I just don't think he's getting the plaudits and the credit that he needs for the way he's managed to cope without Ivan Toney being there. Brentford haven't exactly looked themselves, but they also haven't dropped off the face of a cliff, which is what a few people imagined would happen without Toney. And a lot of that goes down to how good Bryan Mbeumo has been. In fact, at 24 years of age, it wouldn't surprise me if someone else were to come knocking for him. Sorry, Brentford. Again. And that's it. Those are 5 players in the Premier League that I believe are pretty underrated at the moment. But my question to you is, who do you believe is underrated? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Give me your name and tell me why. I would love to hear from you. Thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something new, and I hope to see you in the next one. But until then, take care.